Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Deliora, and today we are going to be talking about my D&D character Zura once again. It's been around 4 months since my last one, and I just want to jump on into it, and I'll be showing some art as I talk about it. So let's just get into it. We have a lot to go over. So in my last video, we talked about how Zura recently got word of where her family's heirloom / weapon was being held, and something I feel, I'll get into it. So we ended up leaving this vampire zombie undead island thing that our party member Hector was quite involved in. We're learning quite a bit about him in these more recent sessions, actually, which is great. I love hearing about my party's backstories. It's always so cool. It fleshes out the world. It's great. So specifically, we went to go save Cork's children because Cork made a deal with a giant Nautilus demon god thing. Very bad on his part, but he didn't remember it. He wanted a wife and kids, and that's what he got, and then he had to pay for it. So we ended up essentially diving down in this specific spot because the people in the undead village essentially told Hector, hey, you need to go get this and we'll help you save the kids. And we were like, well, I guess we're doing that now. And Cork wanted his kids saved, so that's fine. We can do that. Let's do that. So we ended up going and doing that. We dived down. We got into this underwater castle thing. Oh, my phone's going off. Great. I love it when that interrupts my recordings. Anyway, excuse me. So we dived down into this underwater castle, and we end up fighting quite a few things. There are quite a few traps, quite a few puzzles, just a lot of stuff going on. There was a room that was filled with lava, and we had to get Hector to crawl along the ceiling to help us get through the lava. Thanks, Hector. That was very nice of you for helping us out with that. And then we went down lower, and we got some backstory on some characters that lived in the world previously, because my DM has had this world for a long time and has done previous campaigns in this world. So I got to hear about some old characters that I was not aware of. Shout out Bucky and his weird life. There's a little tribute to him, because this turns out it was a magical item conservatory, and this is where we end up finding Zura's weapon, although we do quite a few things before that. So we end up going into Bucky's area. Our resident druid, Facum, got some magic item. I don't specifically remember why, but he got a cool magic item. That's great. Good for him. So he gets a magic item, and then we go into this other room that locks behind us. Never good when that happens in a D&D session. And then a giant T-Rex with a gnome on top of it starts attacking us. Again, not great. Long story short, that fight took forever. Poor Cork Cinnabar got eaten by the T-Rex, and we weren't allowed to get any of his stuff or try to save him. So Cork's dead, right? And that leads us to a whole bunch of issues that we actually continue having up until now, because this was basically right after I made my video that Cork died, which sucks. I posted about it on my community tab. God, rip Cork, dude. He was great. Him and Zura were really good friends, so that sucked for her. But then we got to meet Emmett, who is a little bunny artificer boy. I'll put the art that I made of him in here, and he works for the Magical Items Conservatory, and he was like, oh, you want your stuff back? Well, you gotta prove that you're not gonna, commit genocide with it. Which is fair. That's fair. We can do that. I mean, Hector is a little interesting about that kind of thing, but Zura was willing to basically say, hey, I'm not going to commit genocide, I'm going to help people, which is great. I love her. She's great. So, yeah, essentially we have to go through some trials where you had to pick, like, essentially the best options for each. A lot of puzzle kind of things, just to, like, test your character, test what you would do in certain situations. There was a thing where I had to buy, like, an animatronic child, or, like, orphan bred. It was a little weird, but, you know, whatever. We end up doing that, and then we end up finding out that Zura's father was not who she thought he was, which was an interesting twist that I was not aware of beforehand. So that was a shock for me and her. And he had essentially misused the weapon in some kind of way. The specific way was not really. I mean, I guess it kind of was. Essentially, Emmett had gotten affected by Zura's father's actions, whose name is Xander, by the way. I don't know why I'm just not naming him. His name is Xander because Z's run in their family. Canonically, her grandfather's name is Zangief, because I panicked and that was the only name that came to mind. So, there you go. But, yeah, we end up finding the weapon that got misused, and, you know, everything's fine. I have some art later on that showcases what it looks like, and then I had to update her standing art that I used to make our current party pieces, which is so fun to do, by the way. I think it's fun. And yeah, so we end up getting that, and then we also decide to get we have to get the dagger that the Dawn, because it was like a mafia undead city town island thing, the Dawn wanted, but Hector was like, hey, the Dawn's kind of a bad dude, we probably don't want to actually give a super powerful magic weapon to him, but we also want to, you know, get him to give us the children to help Cork out, because we have to, yeah. So, we do end up saving Cork's kids, by the way, just as a thing. So, we end up getting a not actually that powerful magic dagger, and then we end up keeping the other one, which opens a whole other thing. But essentially, we get both those magic weapons, we do that, we do a few more puzzles as we try to escape this magic conservatory, and then the whole thing kind of collapses in on itself, and yeah, it was a whole thing. Emmett is dead at this point, because Emmett did not, I think he lasted like 3 sessions or something, which is nuts, not very long, but we end up getting our newest party member, Rakek, who is a paladin Aarakocra, which is great. I much prefer Rakek. Emmett was a huge jerk, so, you know, Emmett was a jerk. No one's sad to see him go. Also, he died in kind of like a weird way, because we were walking through a graveyard in the magic conservatory, and he just, like, got critted by a skeleton, but, like, a super crit that killed him, like, instantly, like, flat out. So, that was a weird session. I'll put a dungeon doodle from the session that he died in on screen for you, because I love my little dungeon doodles. I'll show my more recent ones closer to the end. But, yeah. So, we end up finding Rakek, who's like a mummy, and used to live in the super far back times. Back when his, like, religion was, like, essentially getting started. We haven't learned a ton about him, really. except that he's a mummy, and like basically all of his soul, except for like a teeny bit that's in the mummy, is like gone and separated in like a Harry Potter Voldemort kind of way. So we gotta go find those at some point. But yeah, we end up escaping the conservatory while it crashes around us and almost drowns us. We get back onto our boat where the Nautilus proceeds to try to kill literally everyone on the boat, which is not fun, not great, not enjoyable. That was a hard fight. And then Rekek's goddess Ren, that's her name. Her name is Ren. Flies down and is essentially like, dude, you gotta go fuck up the guy you were supposed to, do that to forever ago. Because, he was a mummy for like 2,000 years or something. And he's like, yeah, I gotta go do that. I'll go do that. This is much more dramatic in session, by the way. This is just my recapping-ness, I guess. But yeah, so Ren helps us get out of the predicament. Thanks for that, Ren. Good job. And then she tells Rekek that his soul is in a wizard's tower in like a glacier, and he's got to go get that. So Rekek's like, cool, I'm gonna do that. And then we get to do a little party bonding while we sail back to the island where the Dawn is. Hector gives him the fake dagger, and then he's like, well, this dagger was actually for the vampire lord. And Hector's like, oh, because Hector's technically not a vampire, but definitely is a vampire. And he knows this vampire lord, Master something, Vidani? Is Vidani his name? Something like that. I'm not the one who takes the party notes, and Alex doesn't post them all the time, so I don't have access to all of them. All of this is off the dome in my memory, which, could be good, could be bad. I might have to put some little revisions here and there in case I forgot something or misremembered something. But yeah, we give him the fake dagger, he tells us what to do, which happens, this vampire lord tends to be quite close to where Rekek's soul part is, so that's great. We can go and essentially kill two birds with one stone. Sorry, Rekek. That's a stupid joke. But yeah, we do that. We gear up. We do some shopping. That's gonna be a theme because we're gonna do like 5 shopping sessions later. I'm so sorry to our DM for that, but it was important. We had to shop a lot. So we did some shopping. We had to take one of the Don's henchmen, Vinny No Fingers, and Vinny sucks. Vinny like ate all of our food, and he does not in fact have fingers, and he's just a jerk. Vinny's a jerk, So that was a not fun DMPC to have, but whatever. It was fine. As much as Vinny sucks, it was fine. We do some sailing. We kind of, skip through that. Not much really happens. Then we get to a temple of the Knights of Ren, which is the religion that Rekek belongs to. So Rekek gets to, meet with people of his faith, kind of catch up on what's been happening over the, 200 years or whatever that he was mummified in a sarcophagus for. We get to meet Sir Reynolds, who is a very old tabaxi cat man, who is, my favorite. And, yeah, it's great. We get to meet him. Oh, quick interjection. Here. God. We do a lot in some sessions and like nothing in others, so yeah. Right, so we meet the Knights of Ren. We end up recruiting them to come with us to get Rikek's soul piece back, because it's a mission from Ren herself, so super mega importante. So we do that. Everything's good. We end up meeting with Master Vidani or Ladani, something like that. It was Italian sounding in general. Who's a very sad vampire lord because his wife died. That's gonna come up later. Remember that. And essentially Hector's like, hey, we gotta go do this thing. We believe that there's a dragon in the area. And Master Vidani's like, I will pay you and give you supplies if you bring me back the dragon's heart. So we're like, that sounds great. We'll do that. And then we go off, and we take all of the supplies. We go into the icy glacier dragon's lair, and we do a lot of exploring. Essentially, we go through a lot of like mazes and puzzles and such and such. We end up finding a pet dragon, which was pretty cool. Like, the dragon had a pet dragon. We kill that one because it was trying to kill us. We take that one's heart as well, just for, you know, brownie points, I guess. And then we end up fighting a like horde mimic, which was super cool. Zura like instant killed it because I got 3 20s in a row, so that was pretty cool. I wasn't aware that was a rule. It was a 3.5 rule that, you know, my group likes, so they kept it. Sounds good to me. That was fun. But yeah, I was real worried everyone was gonna die, so getting to like insta-kill it was great. And yeah, we go on to kill Biraneth the dragon, and so we ended up killing Baroneth the ice dragon, who I will also insert a dungeon doodle I did here. That was a really long and hard and tough fight. Hector saved all of us by basically like putting the dragon in I think it was just a like ball for a little bit, so we could all like chill and heal up a little, and then we could continue and, you know, not die, which was great. That was fun. And then we had to, you know, get all of the horde and everything. We had to get the heart for Vladani, or again, I don't remember his name. I'm not the one who talks to him. That's Hector's job. But yeah, we get the horde, and we end up breaking into the like magical force field that was around the wizard's tower by using like a portable hole and then my cloak of the bat, so that I was small enough to go through the hole and pull them through the barrier. It was it was needlessly complicated, and I'm sure there was probably an easier way for us to do this, but we didn't think about it, so we did it the complicated way. Anyway, so we do that. We go through the wizard alchemist's tower for a bit. We find like a mummy prepping station, which we assume that this is very likely what happened to Rikek when he became mummified. So yeah, we end up doing that. We do end up finding his soul in like a ring in the basement. We also found another Knight of Ren that Rikek was friends with back in the day that had also been mummified but didn't come back. So either whoever mummified Rikek did a really crappy job or intended for Rikek to come back in some way. So I guess we'll figure that out in the time to come. But we got that done. We ended up leaving the entire glacier. That's the word I was looking for. We end up leaving the glacier, returning to Hector's master. We end up giving him some of the money that we got and the hearts of the dragons that we killed. And then he gives us a quest, which is the quest we are currently on, and the quest that is probably going to take quite a while. Essentially, we are supposed to find the Shadowfell so that we can go to another realm so that we can save his wife. Or bring back his wife. His wife is dead. That was important. Yeah, so then we spent about 3 sessions just shopping, just like buying spell scrolls. We had a lot of gold after the killing of the dragon, so I ended up buying a bunch of spell scrolls and healing potions and, you know, so on and so forth, just to make sure that we, you know, have all of the stuff that we could possibly need. So we end up buying all the supplies that we'll need: food, rations, oil, like, you know, basically anything you'd need for like a long journey, since the Shadowfell like point that we were trying to get to was quite far away. After we like looked into it, did some in-game research, we ended up picking a way that was essentially like a chapel made out of like rats and shadow and bugs and, you know, gross things very Shadowfell-esque, I suppose. And yeah, that's essentially what we started to do. So we did all that. We shopped for a few sessions, and then we ended up traveling by land to the desert, where we had heard it rumored to be there. We end up getting there after, you know, a few shenanigans, like buying cookies from some gnomes. And we end up getting there, and that's about where we are. We haven't really gotten any farther than that. But yeah, I'll probably end up making another video updating you guys about the rest of this. It's probably going to be in the next 4 months or so, just so I have a longer video. But anyway, follow me on my other socials: Blue Sky, YouTube, subscribe, you know, all that. And goodbye.